Today I want to talk about the weather. And I know I'm always talking about the weather, but we've gone week after week, we've gone month after month where it's just been like warm, just warm, way above average temperatures. Very little to no snowfall. We haven't had snow on the ground here in weeks. If we've gotten snowfall, it hasn't lasted more than a couple days. And you know, they always say cold air sinks, and we're at the bottom of a valley, so it makes sense for any of that cold air with frost and whatnot to, you know, kind of settle down. But the other way I look at it is we're also the lowest elevation of like anywhere around here. So, you know, when you go up into the hills on either side of us, they're always colder than we are down here. And you know, I'm just seeing consistently our temperatures here, we're like 5 to 10 degrees warmer than the Berkshires, which are about an hour away from us. But that's like one of the highest peaks, if you will, of our New England area where we live. I don't know. It's the climate. And, you know, I'm only 26, so I can't say what happened 50 years ago, 100 years ago. And I know the climate's always been up and down, but this winter is just, you know, it's showing its true colors of climate change. But the warm weather isn't all of it. You know, we've been 40s and 50s for months now. But we had like 3 days. Again, I wasn't here. I was at the Bahamas. But we had 3 days of like -0, like down to -15-degree weather with like 40-mile-an-hour wind gusts, you know, which makes that temperature even colder. And then 2 days later, we were back up into 40s. Today, it's like 50. I'm sweating in a Carhartt right now. I just have a flannel on and a t-shirt and this light Carhartt, and I'm hot. But, you know, we're still growing stuff this time of year. We're still actually growing things out in the field. Our overwintering onions are one of the big crops that we are doing right now. And we're on like our 4th year of doing this. And, you know, every year's new. Every winter is new. You know, growing things in the winter is just new to me in general. And I'm learning little by little. And that one -15-degree day with 40-plus-mile-an-hour winds wreaked havoc on our overwintering onion lot. We had plastic and remay that blew off in all directions. It felt like the number of sandbags on there I knew wasn't enough, but it was sustaining for until about now. And it just shows you the massive wind and change in weather can really just affect something like that. So, long story short to that is we've ended up with some pretty sad looking onion plants that these should be nice vibrant green, but the remay and plastic was actually blown off the hoops, pulled right out under from the sandbags, and left in that freezing sub-cold temperature for 2 days straight. And you know, at that point, what are you gonna do either way? You're not going to go out there when it's 40-mile-an-hour winds and try to fix that. It's going to be a mess. And at that point, the damage is there. So I pulled a couple of these out. The roots, and it's been warm under there since I've covered them up. These roots are still pretty vibrant white, and I do still have some pretty green stemming down lower. So we're going to take these. We just got some samples here. And we're actually going to bring them in the house. We're going to put them in a pot, and we're going to put them, I'm going to put them in the warmest area I have. And I'm going to just start feeding them and see if they come back to life, and kind of just do an experiment of, you know, there's maybe, God, the rows are 200 feet long. There's like 12 rows out there. There might be a good 2 full rows out there that have this damage. Just because the plastic and the remay blew off. And the last time my onion plants looked like this over winter, they were just planted way too late. I was learning. They didn't have any root establishment at all, and we lost the whole crop. This is different now, is that we have some nice root growth here. So I'm interested to see if these are going to come back or not. And I won't know that for like another 2 weeks probably here, but you know, this is what I'm getting back is, this is what I'm getting at, is that we need to go back to square one and really look at everything that we're doing to make sure we are doing everything we can to make sure that crop is protected, no matter what the condition is. And you know, if we had snowfall, if we had rain and freezing weather, this probably wouldn't have been an issue, because the snow actually helps hold down that remay and that plastic and helps actually insulate those beds. And we haven't had any of that all season. So, you know, last year where I was able to rely on snow and the water, the freezing water in between the beds to actually hold that plastic down, we haven't had any of that all year. So I'm really just relying on sandbags. And you know, I went into the winter knowing I should have had another probably a couple hundred sandbags spread out between there. But I was relying and anticipating on the snowfall that we'd get to help hold that. And, you know, now I got in a budget, and, you know, we're going to go fill another 500-600 sandbags for this year and just have them on stock. And we're going to load the crap out of those tunnels next year, or I should say at the end of this year. So again, it's a living and learning lesson. I mean, these could come back and be flawless. They could be dead. I haven't been growing onions for years, and I certainly haven't been growing them in, sub-freezing temperature for years. So I don't know. If you folks out there have done this before and you're going to tell me, yeah, these things are junk, don't even try. Like, what I'm trying to figure out here is the beds that are damaged like this worth putting the maintenance into, continue, you know, once spring hits, fertilizing, watering, etc., or should we just cut our losses, clean up that while we have time, and call it a day? So, you know, I'm not disappointed in this. I kind of have faith that these might come back. They might not, but we'll see. So that's where we're at.